All right, guys, good evening and welcome to today's broadcast. I want to first let me begin by apologizing for the delay. It's so much, it's not really intentional, it wasn't planned. And as you can see, I'm not in my mini studio or my in-house studio. I'm in the car. So I went out today and of course go do some things. You know, say man must work safe and man must shop. And as they talk, say no food for lazy man. Some people say not before man where in papa or in mama get money. Because even though he lazy self, money go still there for them to shop. But for me now, my papa get now they say train me. But that not be the thing. Now make my children self get shop. I make me come out for us today. So you're welcome to the broadcast. Of course, today uh, for if you've seen my previous post on social media, you know that what we intend to talk about today, or what I have in plan, is to talk about to have an interview session with Casey, the artist, and get to talk with him about his music, his style, what he's doing, and everything. But then we have to just make amend and make choice, change everything because it's not really available. So today we'll be talking about governance, corruption, and democracy. The reason is because tomorrow is Democracy Day, and tomorrow I'll be having this interview session with Seun Kuti. And Seun Kuti, the son of Fela Anikulapo Kuti, a very nice friend. So very vibrant. He's been saying so much about democracy and Africa approach to our global challenges. So it will be my guest tomorrow. And I swear I will also have two young individuals that are so ready to talk about youth participation in governance. So they will be my guests. They'll be joining me tomorrow. But I just want to prepare the ground. You know, as they talk for Niger, they say if you pour water for ground, you go mash cold ground. Any domisiwaju lo man tell it too. So yeah, and that is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to prepare the ground for my guests. So you can say I'm in the car, and you probably will be wondering, is this guy driving and at the same time talking live? I'm not driving. And with the permission of my co-passengers and my driver, if they permit me, I'm going to introduce them. So I'll be moving my laptop to their face, and I just want you to see their face, and at least they'll say some things to the camera. It's I never really get their permission, because if they talk, I'll hear. So, but they never give me their permission, because you know, we in broadcasting and journalism, you must seek the consent of people to certain things, right? Especially if they are not public servants. So these guys are not public workers, and but I think if they are not saying anything, I be say they don't give their consent already. So I'm moving the laptop now, and I will start by showing you the face of the man behind the wheel. He's smiling already. He's driving. So Mr. Yusuf, say something.
Hey everyone, wish you all the best.
Yeah, that's Mr. Yusuf, and of course, yeah, I have, of course, okay, maybe I should do a background or something I didn't say before. We are from Higher Ground Community Development Association, and we went for something that will enhance our community, and this is the chairman, Mr. Ayo.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Wow, it's nice to be here. Though it wasn't planned, but somehow, I'm online. Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah, and of course, Mr. Yusuf is our General Secretary.
Wow.
So it's about higher grant on the move.
Yes, exactly. That's it.
You can see he can't look at the camera because if he look at the camera and our life in the place. So guys, yeah. Just to let you know what my day is like and what it has been that I'm on the road already. In case you are thinking, we are not on Northern Nigeria Road. And for those who are waiting for the tour of Northern Nigeria, not really Northern Nigeria alone. So this is not a journey. This is just within Lagos. We went for a meeting and we'll be having discussion about developing our community, higher grant community in Onosa, Ofiron, yes, in Ibejuleke. So now let's come to this conversation about governance. See, over the years, I've come to realize that governance is a very serious thing, and it's not really as easy as we think. We can get to sit down in the comfort of our houses and say, oh, why is the president doing this? Why is the president not doing this? Why is the governor doing this? Why is the governor not doing this? Yeah? So it's a very serious issue. And of course, as citizens, we have the right to have that conversation, and of course, to share that thought pattern, to think that they are not really living up to expectation. But then there is one thing again, is that see, governance is not mathematics. There is no certain formula that preaches or prepares us for governance. So I'm going to take it from the old narrative going on in Africa and some of the things I've been trying to discuss with people, which is about, number one, if you ask your friend, or maybe I should ask you yourself, and if I should ask you right now that who is a leader of tomorrow? Or what does it mean when they say the youth are leaders of tomorrow? You probably want to say that, oh, they lie for us now. They say leaders of tomorrow now, but the people they rule us not be youth now, right? It is because we've not been taught properly and properly prepared for leadership. I'm very sorry, the laptop is moving here. So as the driver applied the brake and I'm not holding onto the laptop, we'll get that. But of course, he has to apply the brake because we don't want jam person for it. So, but what I'm just trying to say is that now, if you ask your friend or have this conversation with someone about youth being the leaders of tomorrow, you usually get this chorus response that, now lie, Joe, you don't be the leaders of tomorrow now. Not be the lie whether they lie give us for this country. Why Buhari for that age now? That's still they rule. All the people they rule now, old people. Do you know why? It is of course because we do not see ourselves as leaders in our immediate community, in our family, and in our contribution to life. So we always see leadership from the perspective of politics, political engagement. So if you're not elected, if you do not occupy a political office, you probably think that I'm not a leader. But then, if we come so down to the smallest unit of government, which is the family, are you leading in your family? So that is where everything about governance begins from. It's about a build-up, a process that builds up to become something, right? So you are not doing that. Not because you don't want to, perhaps because you do not even know, you are not even aware in the first place that you are a leader at your level and in your position. Now, so when you see this subject, governance, corruption, and democracy, I know so your mind goes, this guy won't talk about Nigeria government and corruption. Yeah, that is really part of it, but I'm not going to dwell on that because we will get so much time to talk about that. 1 hour tomorrow from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. tomorrow with Sheung Kuti, Andrew Ame, and of course other guys that will be joining me. And if convenient, but I don't really know, a former senator will be joining me on the program as well. But then this is it. If you now see yourself, if you've come to the realization that you are a leader and that at your level you are part of governance, then we'll now move on to the next thing, which is about corruption. And I'm going to ask you. And I'm going to ask you at this particular level. Oh, sorry, that's my phone. I don't know why my phone is giving attention. Yeah, they say demon they possess, not be only human being. If you possess your phone too. Not because your phone they angry, maybe because you're not charged your phone since morning. Decide to tell you, say the battery is going down. Yeah, but then back to it. So if we now accept the fact that we are leaders in our own capacity and in your family, let's move on to the next thing, which is the corruption aspect of leadership or governance. If you are a Nigerian, I never even really traveled. So I don't know if what I want to talk really applies to every other part of the country. Yeah, I said the country. If it's a global phenomenon, especially this particular example. But this is what I want to say. If you are a Nigerian, you probably would have grown up hearing your father, your parents, or other parents, or you as a parent, you probably have done that, telling your children that liars will go to hell, right? Liars, not they go heaven, right? And then this is what you do. After you've told your children that, oh, don't lie, liars, they go to hell, they're not going to make heaven. Then you turn around to do what? You have a visitor you don't want to see. You don't want to see. Let's underline what I'm using. You don't want to see. And your child comes to you to say, oh, someone wants to see you. Then you tell your child to say, go and tell the person I'm not around. Right? You see? Corruption is defined as using your influence to favor, number one, to do things in your favor. In your favor does not really have to do with directly in your favor by, say, you steal money for yourself, but it could be about nepotism. You let your friends get something because you know them. It can be a whole lot of other factors. But then, this example I've just given fall under corruption because it's a corrupt practice, which is that you've just said something and you've just taken another direction to not practice what you preach, but I swear to corrupt the thoughts and whatever lesson that might have been imbibed by that child. And so that is the beginning of leadership failure in Nigeria. And that is what we all experience. So if we do not have this from childhood, we are not taught to be responsible. We are not taught to keep our words. We are not really taught to say, oh, we have to be selfless. Even when we are told, I'm not saying we are not being told. I perhaps would doubt that if there is anybody who grew up from childhood to the age of 30 who has not been told to be upright. I would doubt. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I would doubt so much. But then what I'm trying to say is that it's not about being told, it's about being taught. Now, the best way you can teach anybody anything is to practice that particular thing, a theory. Yeah, I recall back then in school, a computer engineering student during my HND, and in fact, perhaps the best lecturer I've had best lecturer I've ever encountered. We had this conversation. He was teaching us power theory. And after the class, I met him. I said, sir, you know, I've seen a whole lot of these things. During my ND, I've been taught programming languages that are even extinct, that doesn't exist anymore, you know. And I said that pushed me to learn networking, programming. I didn't have good grades during my ND because I felt like what I was being taught in the classroom, I just extinct. It doesn't exist anymore. Even the lecturer where they teach you, not even they practice those things. He not feel write them himself. He they go copy, right? So I met this man. The man told me that this is how this theory can be applied. Now, he was lucky, maybe not lucky perhaps, but he was a former engineer in a ship. You know, these people, they work for ship, where they travel with ship, repair engines and everything. So everything he was teaching us about combustion, you know, these are the things he have practiced. And it made me realize the practicability of those theories. So what I'm saying in essence, it changed my perception about those mathematical formulations and calculation, because it could show me how it can be applied. Not because he told me. And I can still remember to date. I can still remember his name. Not be everybody will teach me, I can remember their name. That is the power of thoughts. Teaching by leadership, by example. So we can sit there in our corner to say Buhari is corrupt. This person is corrupt. But if you search well within yourself, we'll see that we practice those things we condemn in other people. We are very guilty of those particular things. I'm not a saint, right? No, but what I'm just trying to say in essence is that if we begin the conversation of governance, we should first of all exemplify ourselves by understanding that we are part of the process that leads and builds up leadership. It is not an abstract thing. It's not something that you can just wake up tomorrow and you just take it up. It has to be learned. And the first encounter we had as human is with our parents. The language we speak and sometimes the religion we practice, maybe eventually in life you can really change your religion away from whatever your parent practice. But the languages and some of the things, the first thing we'll do are what our parents or the guardian, whoever we grow up with, they practice. So, and that is the same thing. So, if you as an individual, you want a corrupt-free society, you must first of all teach your children and practice it. Not saying to them now, you practice it and let them know why corruption is bad. You don't have to like make corruption look like it's don't bring religion into corruption. Don't say, oh, if you practice corruption, you are going to die, you go to hell. No, it's perhaps not the best way. But make them understand the psychological impact of corruption by letting them know how much corruption endanger and affect other people or members of the society. So then the next thing again, which I want to talk about is, you see, I intentionally kept democracy at the end. I should have said democracy, governance, and corruption. But because tomorrow is Democracy Day, you know, before for this country in May 29, government come, they say they change them. It can't become June 12th. Yes, June 12th, Democracy Day. So I'm not going to talk about how democracy enhances leadership, which is governance, and then breed corruption. But bearing in mind, no system of government is perfect. None. If you do not practice democracy, if you say you are a socialist, you are a communist, whatever it is you want to say you practice, whether you practice monarchy, oligarchy, whatever it is, no system of government is perfect. But then there is one thing about corruption as perceived in Africa. It breeds ethnicity. And one thing that contributes so much to corruption, you know, we call it ethnicity here, but maybe for America, they'll call it racism, right? Because America did so much because of the how complex the country is. They did so much with racial issues and not ethnic group. So they are racialized and not ethnicized, right? But in Nigeria, what we have is that we have same race. But then we have what divides us, which is number one, our ethnic group, and then the second thing, our religion. And all of these are the components that democracy in Africa depends on to thrive. So a politician who is not working, who is not qualified to occupy a position, you support that politician because you say, Omowani, our Peking John from our side. Our person must be represented in this government. And so you pay little or no attention to the whole issue about the governance, which should be the key thing. Is this person qualified to govern? Because governance is not about, it's very different from academic qualification. So by the time you have such, what you now do is that you support whoever and counting on the number, because that was democracy is about. It's all about number. You count on that number and you gather ethnic-based support and every other thing, you know, to frustrate and to achieve your goals. Forgetting the fact that it not me say because your Peking did there, now go make and work. And I can give some example even as I'm drawing close to end this conversation. Tell me a president in Nigeria that has governed Nigeria with the in people from in town, in village, where they're not they complain about. You know they. But they go complain about the person, you know, until election don't near, Abby. So when election don't come again, everybody will quiet, say, you better save me our Peking did there instead of say another person go there. Do you understand? So it is all of this that breeds and contributes to what we are suffering. I care so much about Africa because now we are dealing with this. Not that I don't care about any other part of the world, but you can call me, I don't want to call myself an Africanist, but I believe so much in Africa. I believe so much in Nigeria. I believe so much in my ethnic group as a Yoruba. You know? So, but these are some of the things that have been limiting development in our country. And the things we are doing subconsciously to fuel this underdevelopment. So if we're not adding to the fire, we're not fueling underdevelopment, some of the things we're doing, we probably would have had a better perspective to this and think of better ways to contribute and influence the society. But because subconsciously, we don't even know that what we are doing is wrong, we continue to carry on with some of these practices within the family, you know, within our community, within our local government, within our state, within our nation, and in fact, in the world generally. So as we continue to seek to improve life in Nigeria and across the world, let's not forget that one thing and one thing only is very key to achieving this. We must understand that both our subconscious and our consciousness contribute to factors that will influence those the changes we want in our environment and our society. So I'm going to leave you with this. As you go about your life activities, ask yourself a question. Why, before I say why, do I engage in corrupt practices? If I do, why am I doing it? How is it affecting other individuals? Am I part of the problem we have in Nigeria? If yes, then I have to understand as well. I have to stop watching my step and doing the right thing. And I must then understand that for us to move our country forward, together with you and I, we have to ensure that we are of impeccable character and we are incorruptible, not just by our actions, but as well by our inactions. So this is where I want to say thank you very much for your time with me. It's been a very interesting drive. Apart from my wife, I can't recall the last time someone else was driving me, except I'm in a public transport. But this is a private car, and of course, I have the honor of having somebody who offered to drive me. So I introduced them earlier on, and as they tell us, say anybody will talk for beginning of conversation. If the person never die or you not come out, he must even end that conversation. So I'm going to move because we still get time to our 30 minutes that I intentionally leave this time. So I'm going to move the laptop to them again to say one thing or whatever it is they want to say, maybe about what I've talked about or any other thing they have to say, and they tell you bye. So we'll start first because we did traffic light now. So let's start with our driver.
What I need to say is that to move Nigerian forward, we all need to be a patriotic citizen and selflessness in everything. We must not attach material things to do anything for Nigeria. It must be selfless and selflessness. Thank you very much.
Your name?
Abdullah Yusuf.
Thank you. All right, and of course, yeah, you are live.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be back here again. I can remember greeting everyone the other time, but based on what we have heard today, talking about leadership, governance, I just want to say that leadership begins with me. It begins with you. There's something about everybody trying to say, oh, I can do it better than another person. But when you don't get involved in the first place, you won't be able to bring the leadership quality even in you. But also for us as individuals, if we give our best to say, nah, them, they try and make we leave them, they do their thing. But eventually, if you get involved, instead of criticizing them, you could actually bring out your own contribution, like we are actually doing in terms of giving our own quota to our community. I want to employ each and every one of us. Let's get involved in leadership. Let's get involved in governance, and Nigeria will be a better place. Thank you so much for your time. My name is Ayo Ogunware. This is CDA chairman of Higher Ground Community. God bless you all. Thank you, Mr. Tweety.
Yeah. So, guys, that is it, and we'll do this again tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be epic, though, guys. With Sheung Kuti and some young guys from Benue State who are doing so much. They have a young man from Benue State and another man from Ogun State who are doing so much about having youth on board and having youth, increasing youth participation in governance. We'll be having a huge conversation on governance, right? So, guys, until tomorrow, same time, 5 p.m. I'm very sorry once again. Apology for the lateness. Thank you very much for keeping tab with me. I remain 3-3. Bye bye. Yeah, bye.